Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reddit Edit, where we edit people's Reddit questions. And in this one, the requester was looking at doing a music player. Said it didn't have to be very fancy, but we're still going to make it fancy. Um, we're going to recreate this. I'm not going to bother with the timeline down here because we're going to use it in here. So we're just going to do the cover image, title, current time, end time, and a progress bar right here. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our. Um, let's add our music track first. I'm just going to lower my volume. There you go. So we're just going to add the music track. So we're doing this just to get the length. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add under effects, a fusion comp. And actually, before we do that, we're going to add a background image. It could be a video, it could be anything. I'm just going to grab a background image and put that in just so we have something to put it on. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. I just went and grabbed a random image. A bit of an abstract backdrop. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Let's see, is it bigger than the screen? Nope. Perfect. Okay. So now we're just going to stretch out our fusion comp to be the size of the audio track. There we go. I'm just going to mute the audio track so you guys don't get blasted. There you go. And let's get started. Open that in Fusion. We're going to put a blank backdrop. Actually, I'm just going to make it red for now, just so we can see the things I'm adding on. I'm going to go and grab in the media pool my sample image, put it in here so we can see it. And yeah, let's get started. We're going to grab a background and we're going to make that black. Perfect. Just a little bit transparent. I'm just going to put that out here so we can see it. We're going to grab a rectangle mask and we're going to mask that out. That's going to be the size of our player. So let's make that a little bit smaller. So let's go like that. Let's go 0.33 maybe. 0.33. Yeah, that's a bit better. Or 0.25. No, let's go back to 0.33. We can always resize it in the edit page if we want to. We're going to make our corners a little bit round because round corners are awesome. Oh yes, one thing I'm going to do is as I modify things, you'll notice everything goes blurry. That's because of the auto proxy. So if you right click here next to your play things, you can remove the auto proxy and that'll stop making things blurry. Doop, doop, doop. Auto proxy is good when you've got a very complex comp, but this one's pretty simple at this point. Next, we're going to put these elements here. So let's start by making a background. We're going to make it a gray. Perfect. So I'm just going to add it on top of this. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out some shapes from it. So I'm going to add a multi-poly to it. Multi-poly allows you to create a bunch of polygons. So, oh no, it's a polygon. I want rectangles. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to do a rectangle. We're going to resize it. Kind of like that. And I'm going to try to make it squarish. Yeah, Perfect. Maybe a little bit more, a bit smaller. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And we're just going to reduce the height of, no, not that. We're going to reduce the height of our outside box. Like that. Maybe a little bit more. And use those corner radiuses a bit. Get that a little bit closer. And that's looking pretty good to me. Right? Next, I'm going to create another rectangle. So I'm going to just copy that one because I'm lazy and put it in there and just move it here. I'm going to increase the width. Kind of like that. Corner radius, just a little bit. And the height, we're going to cut it by half. So I'm going to divide this. I'm going to come here. I'm going to say divide by 2. Perfect. No, not by 2. We're going to divide by height. It's going to be divided by 3. Then multiplied by 2. Exactly. Perfect. So that'll give me about 2/3. Let's move it up here. Just going to increase the width a bit more. A lot of room for the title. And we're going to duplicate this. Control copy, Control V. And this time we're going to divide by 2. And bring that down. And I'm just going to go back to this one and we're going to reduce the height a tiny little bit more. Just so we can have a bit of spacing between them. Kind of like that. Okay, so we've got our cover image, title, and timing. Perfect. Now that we've got that, we're going to create our text. I'm going to bring in my image first. So I'm going to go back to my media pool. I generated this earlier. It's just a temporary placeholder. So we're going to slap that on top like this. We're going to add a transform to it. We're going to resize it. And then position it over our cover art area. That's looking pretty good to me. Excellent. So that's our cover art. Next, I'm just going to move these things a bit over. Because the next part that we're going to do is we're going to add the text. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use a multi-merge for this. I'm going to add a multi-merge. And we're going to add the title text for starters. So that's going to be pretty simple. Text node. Put that in there. We're going to call it song title. We're going to align it to the left. And put it over our box. And resize it. Like that. And now, song title, and if I need a second line, I can just hit return. Is awesome. Just going to reduce the line spacing so they're a bit closer. Boom, like that. Perfect. So we got our song title. Let's grab our text and move it a bit to the side. Now what we're going to do is our actual timers. So let's start with the current time. That's going to be the easiest. So the current time, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a text node. We're going to bring it into the merge. And right here, instead of text, we're going to right click and we're going to go timecode. Timecode is the current time in the comp. And it's broken up in frames, seconds, minutes, hours. So by right clicking and selecting timecode, it added a modifier. We're going to go to that modifier and we're going to remove frames. That's the first step. And we're going to remove hours. We're just going to keep minutes and seconds. Excellent. Go back to tools. We're going to anchor to the left, resize, position it, and that one is done. So now as we go forward, we go up in minutes and seconds. That's the first part. Pretty good. The second part is the opposite. What we want to find out is the full length of the clip, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to copy here, I'm going to rename it first. We're going to rename this text time current. And we're going to copy that and we're going to paste an instance. What an instance is it's a literal copy that's linked to the original. If I change anything here, it'll change it there as well. And you can tell what's linked because it's green. Not all of them are green, but that's a good indication. And anything you don't want linked, you have to delink. So for example, right now, if I try to move this over, it'll move both because the center position is linked. So I'm going to right click on center and I'm going to de-instance. And now I can grab this and move it over. Let's try that again. Oh, right, because it's not in here. There you go. Now, if I grab this and move it over, it's separate. But the anchor is on the side. So what I want to do is I want to de-anchor, de-instance. Did I move the wrong one? I moved the wrong one. Give me 1 second. There we go. Let's go back to our transform layout. There we go. Let's move that one over here. Now I want it to be anchored to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go back to my text. I'm going to right-click on horizontal anchor. And I'm going to de-instance and move it to the right and then finish placing it. Now the problem is it's also climbing upwards. And that's not what I want. I want it to tell me what's the full length of the clip. So we're going to do a little bit of trickery. I'm going to select my time end. Actually, let's rename it. Text time full. There we go. On my text time full, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a time speed node. And time speed allows me to set the speed of the animation. And currently the speed is to 1, so normal speed. What would happen if I said -1? Oh, what? It plays it in reverse. So we're almost there. What I want is I want this to remain static. So after the time speed, I'm going to add a time stretcher node. And I'm going to say stretch frame 0, and we're going to say nearest. And now it will tell me the end length of the song and stay that way. Da, da, da. And that's based on the length of the composite. The next bit is we're going to create, actually, let's change the size of those fonts because they're a little bit big. And now because the size is still linked, it changes both, which is kind of nice. Next bit we're going to do is we're going to create a line in the middle that's going to expand. So I'm going to create, let's add a bit more space. I'm going to add a a background. I'm going to put it on top of all of this. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I mean, I could. I could put it there. No, I want to add. I know it defeats the purpose of a multi-merge, but this is how I want it. So I'm going to create a. Oh no, I'm going to create another multi-merge. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a line that's going to fill up. So I'm going to add another multi-merge. And this one's going to be used to do the line. So if I now grab a rectangle and put that on here, I can now change the width and the height. And this is going to be the container for my line. So I'm going to bring this like right about here. That looks pretty good. We're just going to change the width. Let's get a bit closer. Kind of like that. I'm just going to increase the width like that. Perfect. And reduce the height just a little smidgen. Then we're going to change the color of this to, I don't know, something a little bit brighter. So we're going to bring this up kind of like this. So now we've got the kind of the container for our meter, the line that's going to increase. So we're going to then grab we're going to grab another background. I'm going to make this one red. A dark red. Perfect. And what we're going to do is we are going to then put that in here. And we're going to grab a polygon and put that on top. Now what we can do is we can put a point here and put a point right about there. I'm just going to click it and pull a little bit. There we go. And we're going to make this, instead of making it a polygon shape, we're just going to make it a line by removing solid. So now we've got basically a transparent, an invisible line here. I can make that a little bit bigger by changing the border width, kind of like that. I'm going to grab the end here and just pull it back a bit. There we go. Like it? I like it. And now what we can do is we can animate the line by using the length property. So I'm going to set a keyframe at the start of the comp. And then I'm going to go to the very end of the comp and I'm going to set another keyframe. And that's basically it, really. If we take a look and see what that looks like. Oh, yes, I need to go back into my Fusion comp and take this background and make it transparent so I can see the original drawing. There we are. And now I'm going to unmute this, but I am going to reduce the volume because it looks pretty loud. Just so we have a little something we can hear. And now as we go in, the time climbs. It's 3 minutes. And the bar keeps going forward.
Enter mode.
And eventually, it will come to the end. And that's it. That's our player. It was very easy to do. If you have to change there's one thing that you'll have to do though. If you change the size of the Fusion comp, like let's say the song, you decide to change the song and it's much shorter, well, you'll have to come back into your Fusion, change the title, obviously, but also go to this polygon and let me get rid of my media pool. go to your keyframes, expand, length, and then go find the end keyframe and bring it back. And that's it. And now it'll land at the right spot. And that's it. And now what we can do is we can grab this and move it around, place it where we want. So we could just, nope, not zoom. We could come here and position it. We can animate its position. So we could have it like kind of zoom in. So let's say at the start, it's right here. Let's go a couple of frames up. We'll put a keyframe on position. We'll go over here. We'll move it off screen. So it kind of flies in. Boom. There we go. That was a little bit slow. Let's bring that in a little bit faster. I'm going to click on this, hold down Shift, and go back. Whee! Like even that's slow. Grab this, hold down Shift. And there you go. You could have it fade by using... Oh, let's go back to that keyframe. Didn't go as far as I wanted it to. Nope, not like that. Kind of like this. And then, you know, you can use other animations. You can come in here and throw in a video transition and make it like do a blur dissolve. So if I zoom back out, let's hide the keyframes. We're going to grab this blur dissolve and put it on the end. There you go. And so as it comes in here, bloop, it dissolves on its own. So you can do tons of things with this now. And if it's too big or if it's too small, you can just grab it and zoom it, right? Like come over here to the video and make it smaller, make it bigger, up to a certain point. And that's it. Hopefully this was useful to you guys. It was a very simple fusion composition, but it has a lot of potential. It showed a lot of interesting abilities and a lot of interesting features. And like I said, now that I've resized it, I've got to come down here and make an adjustment to my polygon, grab the end. There's a way to force it to animate itself, like to adjust, but it's not worth the hassle. You have to come in here to change the title anyway. And that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.